Hey guys, real quick mama here. I'm a pregnant, stay-at-home wife and mom of 3 kids 5 and under, coming at you as is with short videos so that you and I can get through our busy day. Getting ready to go into my ultrasound. See you soon. Welcome back. I'm so grateful I don't have to wear this thing at home. Yeah, it's a little goofy, but it's what we're doing. So, I'm 25 weeks pregnant and I'm feeling so great. I have so much energy, so much appreciation for this time at home. While a lot of people might be feeling like they're stuck at home, I am feeling so blessed to be under a roof and to have a beautiful family, and God has just afforded me a lot of gratefulness in this season. I do feel great. And I was actually looking at a calendar recently to see when my 3rd trimester starts, and I think it's around 27, 28 weeks. I'm not really sure. Nobody seems to know for sure. But I realized that as the pregnancy gets further and further along, I might be losing some energy. So please be praying for me to continue to have sustained energy and health for the sake of my family and my kids and my sanity. I would just be so grateful for your prayers. I'm going to tell you a little bit about an ultrasound that I had this week. It was a higher level ultrasound, and the reason why they wanted to do it was because at the last ultrasound, when they did the anatomy scan, they weren't able to see the heart, brain, and spine very well. Now, as you may know, I have a 5-year-old daughter who has spina bifida, and this is actually why they wanted to take a closer look, just to rule that out with this pregnancy. And so I'll show you the footage from that ultrasound. Alright, so I'm at my ultrasound, just getting a better look at the baby's heart, brain, and spine, and I'm wearing this mask to help flatten the curve. But I'll tell you what, no one and nothing will flatten this curve. So they did get a good look, and everything looked normal and healthy, so we can proceed with our plan to have our baby at home. And the baby weighs 1 pound and 11 ounces. Isn't that so cute? We're really excited. I mean, I wasn't surprised or, relieved or anything. I figured everything was fine, but it's always nice to get a second look. So I want to tell you a little bit about our birth journey. With our first daughter, Amnesty, my husband and I had been married for about 2 years when I found out I was pregnant with Amnesty. And about 20 weeks into the pregnancy, we really had to change our entire birth plan. We had planned on having a home birth, and having a midwife and a doula, and just really doing a more natural approach to birth. And when we found out at 20 weeks, we went in and we found out that we were having a little girl, so we were really excited about that. And then we also found out that she had a major spine and heart issue, and that really changed the trajectory of our birth plan. So going forward, we had tons of ultrasounds and tons of doctor's appointments. We even considered fetal surgery at one point, where they would take the baby out at 24 weeks and operate on her spine and then put her back in. And this was all to avoid having a device put in her brain called a shunt. And that is to reduce excess fluid if you have hydrocephalus or Chiari malformation. When she was born, she ended up needing the shunt. She didn't qualify for the fetal surgery because of her heart condition. And when she was born, her heart was healed. And so going forward with future pregnancies, we did have to have a C-section with Amnesty. When we found out we were pregnant with our second daughter, Noelle, we decided to have an elective C-section. And that was really just our own lack of planning and research, and really just not being diligent to take responsibility for what was important to us. And we've talked about it and since, agreed that wasn't the best decision. But we know God is in control, and when our 3rd daughter came along, we decided to not do a C-section. So when Marie was born, we had an in-hospital VBAC, which is a vaginal birth after a cesarean section. It went very well, but it was very much a stressful environment, and it was far from an undisturbed birth with my history of C-sections, and I think really just hearing testimonies of people who've had babies in the hospital anyway, most of the time, a natural birth in the hospital is really just far from natural. There's a lot of interruption, there's a lot of demands put on the mother, and it's very stressful. So after Marie was born, I had a lot of health issues, and it was, I mean, I think we've kind of chalked it up to the stress of childbirth, but also the fact that we tampered with the pregnancy and wanting to have the baby sooner, because I got to that end of pregnancy stage where I was not really making sound decisions, thinking that the contractions that I was feeling were actual birth contractions, when in fact I had never had contractions before. I didn't realize that they were just Braxton Hicks, and my body was just preparing me for childbirth. So anyway, we ended up doing some things to progress the labor, and it wasn't a natural birth because of that as well. So now, with knowing we have a fourth baby on the way, we're really, really set on having a home birth if God will will it. So our plan is to continue with seeing our midwife, and she's awesome, and she's just really has a very natural approach to things, as well as just really leaning on each other, leaning on God, and just trusting that whatever God has in store for us is what he had always had in store for us. So I'm so grateful for my husband, because he is so supportive of having this baby at home, and the type of birth that I want, you know, it can vary. I mean, I've had a true labor experience now, so I realize how, you know, plans kind of go out the window. You think you might want to have a water birth, and then, you know, you're in labor and you realize that if water touches you, you might kill someone. So, but my hopes are to have a home birth with a home water birth. So to maybe set up a tub inside of the playroom and nursery, and just kind of have a peaceful environment and have the baby in there. So we'll see what happens. My due date is July 25th, but I will be 42 weeks on August 8th. So in my mind, the baby's coming around August 8th. I don't want to set myself up to be disappointed when I'm 40 weeks in one day and I think, oh, I'm past my due date, like I've expired or something. So if July 25th rolls around, do not text me. I'm just kidding. My fears and my excitements are obviously, you know, my fears are, what if something goes wrong? You know, what if, but I do have a lot of peace in knowing that God is sovereign, God is in control, and that I have a wonderfully talented and educated midwife that is able to do whatever is necessary to help if there is an emergency. I don't really have any concerns about uterine rupture. I have had 2 C-sections, but I've also had a successful VBAC. So I'm not concerned about that. And then what if the baby needs breathing assistance, or what if I can't do it? You know, what if I get to that transition and I'm like, I need to go to the hospital, what was I thinking? And I think that's probably very normal. I can remember my transition in Marie's birth. Excuse me. I can remember my transition from to that last stage in Marie's birth, where I was like, I can't do this, get me the epidural. And I'm so grateful for everyone for listening to my birth plan and holding me accountable to that in the midst of that desperate moment. My excitements are, I don't even know the gender of this baby. I'm so excited to have that reward, to hold my child in my arms and know that, you know, for the very first time, I'm truly meeting him or her. I didn't know it was a boy or a girl. I'm also, God willing that we have a home birth, I'm very excited to climb in my bed that night, to not have to, you know, be checked every 3 hours and woken up and, you know, visited by every department to make sure that I know how to nurse and how to do whatever. And so I also hope that this time around my healing will be a lot better, because it was such a stressful environment at the hospital. The healing process was so difficult. And because we rushed Marie out, she ended up having to stay longer than I had to stay. And I was discharged, and then I had to walk literally miles every day to go breastfeed her every 3 hours in and out of the hospital. So, you know, just really taking that out of the equation. There's just so many things I'm excited about. I'm excited to be able to call my girls in the room just moments after our baby is born, you know, and I'm also excited to hopefully not have to have a baby at a hospital because of all that's going on right now. So these are just things I'm looking forward to, things I'm excited about. And listen, I know these videos have been longer than 5 minutes. I'm sorry. I don't want to spend a ton of time trying to like shorten my talks and stuff. So So that's a little bit about what has been our history with childbirth and why we're choosing to have a home birth. And I'll probably talk about it more, but I just wanted to touch on it. 25 weeks seems like such an amazing milestone. I looked it up and I'm like 68% of the way through my pregnancy. So that's really cool. I am going to show you my belly now. Check this out. I'm not wearing a great shirt to show this to you, but that's okay. So this is baby. I didn't do any measurements this week, but I did update you with my measurements and weight last week. And yep, growing and showing. So thank you so much for joining me real quick. Thank you for your prayers for our family, and take care and God bless. Bye. Wait, don't start yet. Okay, write it smaller so you have space, okay? Okay, Noelle just learned to write her name. Do a line. I can't believe my little girl is so big. Look.